Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. I'm really excited to have another discussion with everyone. And I just want to say hello to Kelly and Lisa. I'm so glad you guys are here. I see you're typing a little bit in the chat. And so if you're not typing in the chat, hello, welcome. So if there's anything that you want to talk about, engage, questions, comments, please feel free. Uh-oh, what was that? Okay. Feel free to type it in the chat, and then we can chat and engage together, because these are just some of my own personal thoughts, and I'd love to hear some of yours. So if you see me glance down, it's because I have some notes just to make sure that I don't forget about what I want to talk about, but I am definitely engaged with you. And I do have some props out. I tend to like props. I just do this kind of at the last minute. But so I have, stuff on this side, just a few things that are the foods that I enjoy that are plant-based, plant exclusive, sos-free, just real food. And then I have some other items, and this is included on this side, this whole grain rice. I have a few things here that I happen to just find in the house because we do have non-compliant food in our home. My husband eats a non-compliant food, although he's doing better and better. And we have family that comes over. And so I do have some of these things here. And so the topic that I wanted to discuss is how to stay on track for better health. How? Is there like a magic recipe or script you follow? I don't believe so, but I do believe that if we have awareness and we have a conversation, that you can be successful. And so I just want to stop for a minute. Hello, Jim Dixon from Texas. Mona, hello. So good to have everybody here. Thank you so much. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is some of my own personal experiences. So when we're physically ill, or we have some kind of pain sensation, and for me, that was the case, I feel like in a way, it's kind of a good thing, because I feel like it helps us stay on track. At least it helped me stay on track, right? When I realized that this was helping me and I either didn't feel well or I had sensations, neurological sensations, other sensations that I could feel, it kept me motivated to stay the course, stay on track, no matter what anyone put in front of me, because I was so motivated to improve my health. But I also feel like if people don't feel anything, like at one point my husband had high blood pressure, and I've asked him before, when you had the high blood pressure, did you feel it? And he said, no, I didn't know. So if we don't feel it, then maybe that might be a deterrent from staying healthy and on course, because there isn't any kind of bodily sensation or reminder. So that's one thing I'm thinking about. Let me just check the chat. Oh, hi, Natalie Dixon. Anybody? Okay, I've said hi to everyone. And so anyways, so, then I was thinking about, okay, so when we feel good and you're in, say you're on track and you're doing well, and now you've got to go to an office party, or you are on vacation at a restaurant, or your neighbor throws a barbecue and you're invited to these, or you're required to attend them, and you get pressured, maybe by someone around you, someone that wants to enjoy and engage with you, and they just say, oh, just try a little bite, right? It's not going to do anything, and you're feeling good. And so if you decide to engage in that, one thing that we really need to think about is, well, first of all, how is this going to feel in the moment that I eat it? Probably pretty good, right? Because it's meant to feel pretty good. It might taste delicious to us, and we might have some great sensations in the moment. Now, what happens when we go home, in an hour, or the next day, or even up to several months, depending on what is causing your, what your issue is, inflammation or whatever, then we may pay the price. So I know of people going to restaurants and they say, well, I don't eat this very often. They eat it, and then what happens? They go home and they're like, I had a stomach ache all night, I had reflux, I had this, I had that. And so those are the things that we need to consider when we feel good, when we're in a situation that might have things that, seem like they're good, but really aren't for us or for me. I like to use me as the example. Another thing that I want to talk about is memories. Memories are so, so strong. Oh, before I get to that, I just want to check the chat, and I just want to say hi to Karen. Oh, good. I'm glad. She says, great topic, Jennifer. We all need to know. I appreciate it. And please engage, questions, comments, any topics you want to talk about. Hi, Marlene Howell. Motivation is definitely a key component in our way of life. Yes, I definitely agree with that. And that's why it's so important to have community and have you guys all together with me, so that we can make sure that we help each other on the course that we choose. So what I was starting to say is memories. Memories, they're so strong. They can be, right? Memories of friends or family, good times, parties, as a kid, birthday parties, or as an adult, drinking parties or whatever. Good times. That is something that we usually associate with some sort of food, right? So whether it's, whatever it is, we usually eat together and enjoy. And so sometimes you feel like you're missing out on something, right? Because you're not engaging the same way. And that can make it hard to stay on track. But I know that sometimes I've experienced this myself, right? Where I think it's going to taste a certain way, or I think that I'm missing a certain joyfulness that I remember associated with that chocolate cake or with that, whatever. And I try it, and even if it does taste good in the moment, or if it doesn't, it's not what I remember. It's not always connecting that. And so I feel like that is another component. So like, we have different components. It's not just the food. Food is a huge component, but there's also stress, there's sleep, there's, being tired. And all of those things can affect our moods and the decisions that we make. And so if I'm tired, if I'm feeling cranky, or if something's out of balance, I might look for something comforting, for something that's going to bring me to that memory, that good feel memory. And because of old behavior, because of the way that I remember, I might, or someone might, we might go for something that we think is going to offer that because we remember it that way, right? You fell down as a kid, you got a scrape, or you got an injury. Some people, when they were little, including myself, were comforted by a hug, a kiss, a Band-Aid, and what? A popsicle, or, some kind of sweet or something, because that brought a smile to our face. That was something of enjoyment. So does anyone else have anything to add to that? Any comments, any questions, any memories? Have you experienced anything like this? I would love to hear from you, and try to just help with understanding, how we stay on track. Now, while I'm waiting to see if anyone wants to chat, I'm just going to say that, the right food, I believe, is fuel for our body. And I see something coming in. So Jim Dixon, is it true that you need to take I can't.
More vitamin B12.
Oh, more vitamin B12 when you're on a plant-based diet. Yes, you do need to take B12 if you're exclusively on a plant-based diet. And the reason why is because our soils, they're not the way they used to be years and years ago. And so, they're more like dirt. And because of what we've done to the soils that used to have natural B12 that would occur in the soil and on some of the fresh fruits and vegetables, we've sprayed stuff on them and just we don't have the opportunity to ingest it the way that we used to. So supplementing with B12 and of course asking your healthcare provider, making sure you get a blood test will allow you to know what's right for you. Excellent question. Thank you so much. So I started saying that food is fuel to our body, the right food. I know that I've had conversations with my husband when, I've eaten some whole food plant-based thing, and this was going back a while ago, and he may have, said, no, I'm not going to have that. And he went out and got something through a drive-through, and then we both ate, right? And then all of a sudden I'm like full of energy. I want to go, let's go. And he's napping on the couch. So, it really does affect us, how, the type of food that we eat. And I also think another category is exercise. Exercise is so important. So we've got food, the right food for fuel. We've got exercise, which could be so many components. Sleep is another one, and connection to people. And these are just common things that are some of the things that we need as a whole. And when those things are off balance, they can affect our mood and our tiredness and make temptations, donuts or hot dogs or pizza or whatever, seem like they're going to help us, right? They're going to give us the stamina, the memory, the energy, the feel good, the comfort, the relief, whatever it is that we're looking for. But the truth is that it isn't sustainable, and usually it's not really what we're looking for. And being tuned into that, I think, is a really big player. So I'll just say, as a kid, and maybe most of you, I don't know, you can tell me what you think. As a kid, I had a routine. My parents were in charge of me, right? Your parent is usually in charge of you when you're a minor. And so I had a routine. I got up at a certain time if it was during the week. I had breakfast at a certain time. I went to school. They had a routine there, right? So what everything, is kind of laid out, what subject you're doing, when you have a break, blah, 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 all the way through the day. I came home, I had a bedtime, right? And before bed, we did story time. I remember having bath time, all these routine things. But when we become adults, we don't have somebody to put in a routine for us. So we have to then take control of what's best for us. And a routine can really help getting all those things I just talked about, right? Our sleep under control, exercise, community, being engaged, getting involved somehow, and choosing the right foods. And I believe that if we have all of the components, and those are just some, right? But if we have the components that create stability and create balance, we'll be more able to succeed and in keeping on track. So let me just take a look at the chat here. Let's see. Yes, Jim Dixon. Yes, this is my weighted vest, and I have all kinds of information about the weighted vest. And thank you for noticing. This weighted vest is helping me reverse my osteoporosis and get it into osteopenia. Hi, Mona. Mona Arendt says, "How do I stay motivated to stay the course when I have days where I just can't seem to fill up?" Well, That's a really good question. And so I don't know that I have the answer. I think you have the answer, but what I will say are some suggestions of things. Staying motivated is making sure that all of those areas are well met, your sleep, your exercise, changing your environment. If you are in an office all day, or if you're at home all day, maybe getting out and doing something that you enjoy, depending, going and seeing a movie or going and hiking or whatever it is. Changing the environment can, for me anyways, really be a mood changer and be something that helps me. And I'd love to hear if you have tried. I'm sure you've tried all that, but what your thoughts are. And so, I'm having trouble reading that name.
So Saucy has a comment.
Saucy, welcome. On that note of B12 supplementation, I think that applies to all people and every kind of diet in today's world because of exactly what you described, Jennifer, not just plant-based diets. You know what? You're right. I have a relative, one of my kiddos that's an adult, and at the time wasn't eating whole food plant-based, heavy meat, very deficient in vitamin B12 and vitamin B in general. So thank you so much for bringing that up. It's true. And Marlene Howell says, AJ states, don't have it in your home what you shouldn't eat. Yes, Chef AJ, she says that it's better to have a clean environment, and then you won't be tempted to put something in your mouth that you don't want to, that doesn't align with your new values. And you know what? That is true, but it isn't always a reality for everyone, because some of us live in divided households, or we have, extended family and things like that. But it is good to know. If it's in your house, it's in your mouth, is what she says. Yes. And so anyways, another thing that I want to talk about is not reacting. So, let's say you had this crazy day and you're driving home and the traffic, whatever, you're just really like up to here with feeling not so calm and centered, and you're starving and you're tired. And, if you have dependent children or other people in the house that are waiting for you to, put together the meal and all of those nightly things that you might have, depending on where you are in your life, I find that something that I'm working on is not to react, not to grab, not to just do it. What instead I want to do is pause for a moment. It's only going to take a moment. It's not going to make or break your situation and what's going on. And if you need to remove yourself, or if I need to remove myself because I'm not allowed to pause, I'll go lock myself in the bathroom or something. I just want to have a few minutes with myself. And what I want to do is I want to say to myself, self, what is it that you're really needing or wanting? And just see if I can settle with some clarity. What exactly is the body asking for? Sometimes we think we're hungry because we're tired, or we think we're hungry because we're hungry, but we're not. We're thirsty. We just want water. And so, or we think we need a treat or whatever. And so taking a moment to allowing ourselves to just sit and just really get in touch with the inner self. I do believe that we can find answers, and it can also be helpful. We're such fast-paced lifestyle that we live in, such a fast-paced world, that sometimes we don't even allow ourselves in our own home at the end of the day to just be with ourselves just for a minute, just for a couple minutes, and just kind of see, okay, what is it that's really going on here? Because do I really need or want that chocolate cake for the right reason? Or is there something else that I need? Oh, I'm thirsty. I'm just super tired, or whatever. So I would just say, let's see, Marlene Howell says, always Have a meal or a salad as a go-to. Don't wait until you're hungry to find something filling to eat. Yes, being prepared, absolutely correct. I agree with you 100%. I do it all the time. I try. I'm not perfect. There are times when I'm like, oh, why didn't I plan better? But you're right. If we make sure that we don't get too hungry, then it will also help us to stay on track and be successful no matter what in front of us. Um, and Jim Dixon says, good point. Yeah, you become hangry. Yeah. And then you got to just figure out why. Why? Because we just assume we know why. But is it really why? So sometimes it is, but sometimes it isn't. And if it isn't, what need isn't being met? And then maybe try to adjust that. And Lori was talking to Marlene. That's good advice. Usually when I crave junk food, I just need to have a meal. Yeah. Do you know our dog does that? I swear. Remy, he knows where the treats are, and they're in the pantry, and we'll put out his food, or maybe we won't put it out, right? And Daddy Todd will go and give him a treat. And then if he keeps coming back for more, I tend to say, you know what? I think he's hungry. And most of the time it is because he's hungry. But he knows where to go for treats instead of for the meal. So as his puppy parents, his doggy parents, we need to make sure that he has a routine and that he is kept on track as well. I thought I would share that. And so I got a couple other notes here. Let's see. In thinking about just, having clarity, also be aware. Is it okay for you? And I say it is, but you let me know what you think. Is it okay to take a moment, even in that office party, and think about and be aware of what is that one bite or that treat or that whatever, what it's going to do to me afterwards? How is that going to make me feel? And we did touch on this a little bit earlier, but so is it going to change the mental perspective, the physical perspective, the emotional? Is it going to cause depression and anxiety, or all kinds of things? Because it can. The way that things work in the processed world. They're meant to give us a feel good feeling when we eat them, not necessarily feel good in terms of feeding ourselves and rejuvenating our bodies so that we can be the best us, but in terms of thinking that we need more, it tastes good. If you're not on your best game, you might have that dopamine hit and start to just think you need more because it tastes good. I mean, those advertisements, you can't eat one Lay's or whatever it is, there's a reason for all of that, which I have mentioned before in some other lives, and it's just really interesting. Some other things that you might want to think about is this a quick fix for something bigger? And how will this choice help me stay on track to being the best me that I want to be, and living my best life? I mean, for me, learning through different avenues and different doctors and professionals in the whole food plant exclusive life world, I hope to be blessed that when my days are done, it's just like that. I don't want to, be bedridden again ever, or be in a wheelchair, or have my last 10 or 20 years where I can't take care of myself. And I think that there's an evolution that I've learned, that I believe in. All these years of giving our bodies not what it needs to sustain and be healthy and feel the way life is supposed to feel, I think, is something that I just strive to go away from. And so thinking about those things, knowing you're not alone, connecting with community, and getting all those other areas in place, in check, will really give you your best chance at being successful. And I just want to say also that every choice every choice we make will impact our health, and that will happen in the long term. You might not notice it when you have the cupcake or whatever, but eventually it will come back to you. When you're in the doctor's office and they say, "Oh, you're pre-diabetic now," or you're, God forbid anybody has a, cancer or whatever, autoimmune. I mean, it's endless. All these things, heart disease and everything else. But if we just give our body what it was designed to eat, allow our palates to just come back to tasting what real food tastes like, which real food's not supposed to taste like this high salty, high sugary, oily mixture. But when we're accustomed to that, it does take time to transition. And once you make the transition and you go, wow, I never tasted salt from eating a celery stick, right? Because there's natural salts in celery. It's just amazing, and it's a beautiful thing. So let me just see if there's anything else going on here. Yeah, so Todd is saying not having something already prepared when I get hungry, for him, one of the biggest challenges in staying on track. Yeah, and that's where batch cooking can come in, or just simple. A bag of frozen vegetables, a can of peas, a bowl of peaches, or a big watermelon, and rice. I mean, these are simple things, and you don't even have to make rice anymore. You can buy it. I know we have it at Trader Joe's, microwavable, ready to go in 3 minutes, right? You put the bag in there, you push the 3 minutes, you cut it and you dump it. You rinse these off. You can heat them or not, dump them on there. Got a big bowl of lettuce, right? Salad in a bag, even if you don't want to. Chop that thing, dump it on there, and you're ready to go. I mean, I don't know how much simpler it could be. Fancier or more work, depending on what you're doing or what you want to make, but it doesn't have to be. So those are some of my thoughts. Now, I'd like to ask if anyone else has anything that they want to discuss, and if not, I am going to invite Todd to ask some questions or chime in if you want. You could do it behind the scenes, or you're welcome to come into the camera. You let me know what works for you. But, we had a little bit of discussion before this, and he had some really good points and things to say. Okay. Oh, Austin. Hello, Austin. But to ever use the microwave, really, that is true as an accessible option for people to transition. But should the microwave deserve the long-term place in healthy kitchen? So you know what? That's an excellent point and question. But I want to speak to an overall large group. No matter where you are, there are different places. And if the microwave is going to keep you from going to the bakery and buying a gigantic chocolate cake or some crazy dessert, croissant or whatever, I say use the microwave. But if you're already, you're trying to heal or combat cancer, and you're already, juicing and eating all of this, yeah, probably, the microwave isn't going to be where you want to go to. So I really think that it depends on where you are. Todd enjoys using the microwave. I personally try very hard not to use the microwave. At one point, our microwave was broken, and he kept saying, well, when are we going to go buy a new one? And I'm like, I'm fine if we never buy a new one again, because I didn't want to use it. And I think we went about 5 or 6 years without it, and I didn't miss it at all. But I also believe that for some people, it helps them in being successful. So depending on where you are, you just got to do what works for you. And if that's going to help you be successful, well, I'm right behind you and supporting you. So, and Kelly is saying, Dr. Greger has a video on microwaves. Oh, that's a very good point. Thank you. And so, yeah, Dr. Greger at nutritionfacts.org, he has amazing information. There are so many plant-based doctors that have a lot of information, and please feel free to look that up and just see what you can find. So, yeah, so Todd, do you want to come in, or do you want to chat from there? Aha, he's going to come join us.
I will come in. I've been keeping some notes
Say hello.
as well. Hello, everybody.
He's been helping us make sure that the chat is going strong, and so now it's not being monitored.
That's okay. I will reintegrate my typing skills as soon as I get off.
And I just want to say that Austin is asking for the link to the video, if that's possible, Kelly. That would be great. And anyone else that's interested or knows about it. Lori says, hi, Todd. Mona, I will need to pop out in a bit. Oh, the repair guy is here. Well, I understand. And thank you so much for tuning in. And if you can, we'll be on for another half hour or so. It'd be great to have you back.
And if he doesn't charge hourly, sit him down and he can ask questions too.
and Jim Dixon says, hi, Todd.
Hi, Jim.
Okay,
Hi,
so
Lori.
yeah, let's
Yeah, so one of the comments that I had put in there is one of my biggest challenges is not having something prepared, right? So when I get hungry or whatever it is, I just get this urge to eat something, which I'll talk about also later, but I don't have anything. So now I'm like, okay, I'm just going to run out and go grab something or whatever I'm going to do. And I think one of the things that I have learned from you as a strategy to compensate for that is, when I'm making rice, I'll make more than what I need for that one meal so that I've got leftovers that I can turn to or reheat or things like that. You called it batch cooking. I call it leftovers.
Yeah, well, they're different, actually. I just want to stop for a minute. Mona is still with us. And Natalie Dixon says, hi, Todd. And Mona said, Todd, you're chopped off a little bit.
Chopped
so
off?
You know what? I'm going to tell them a secret.
Okay, tell them.
So just really quick side note, and then we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
But the camera is set up for me. And so when Todd comes in frame ever, he's always too tall. So he stands with his legs kind of to try to make him fit in there. So now you're really short.
Yeah.
Now you should fit in well.
Although I don't know, maybe she's talking my audio is chopped off. But.
Oh, I hope not. So anyways, I just want to say a couple things to what you were just saying. So when you said when you have nothing and then you have to go somewhere, when I'm around, which is mostly, there is stuff here, but he chooses not to have it.
That's also true, right?
Not
so
to
it
have
could it is just as easy for me to go in to the refrigerator and the freezer and get a tomato and some kale or romaine lettuce and make a quick salad. And it's certainly much quicker than driving out somewhere and buying something and coming back and then having to make that. So yes, which I think brings me to kind of that next piece of it, right? You had talked a little bit about behaviors and habits and old ways of thinking.
Yeah.
And I think there is as much a mental and emotional and habitual component to staying on track as there is just the physical nature of having food available.
Yeah. And and I also want to say that it's not like we cook separately.
True.
We try lately. It's been fun. We try to cook a little bit together, and I cook some stuff and some things you cook, or we cook together, and it's fun. But if it's not something of interest to you, it doesn't matter if there's food here or not. And even if it's something he liked and had the night before, right? So sometimes you're not all about like leftovers like I am. I love leftovers.
That's true.
But so anyways, so going back to the next part that you were just
that there's a mental, emotional, habitual piece to that.
Yeah. And so why don't you talk more about that?
Well, I think you touched on it a little bit, right? When you're stressed or you're anxious or there's this outside influence or interference that's, shifting your mood, right? How do you stop in the moment, recognize that for what it is, and step back to refocus, or separate that from the fact that I'm now going to stress eat or I'm going to, whatever.
Well, I don't think that it's a natural thing, which is why I'm hoping that this channel will bring awareness so that when we have awareness about our situation, about our commitment to something that we're doing and it's not working, having awareness about things in advance to try, I think is for myself very helpful. So in the past, I would have never connected I'm tired with that's why I'm grabbing this dessert or this high caloric, dense, whatever, bag of nuts or whatever. But now I have awareness. So I can say, okay, let me take a step back for a minute. Am I really just hungry and I just need a big meal? Am I tired? Am I thirsty? Am I sad? Am I anxious? What's going on? What's the body trying to tell me? Because if there's anything that I have learned about the body is it is a smart machine and it knows what it needs and it will tell us. And when we don't listen, it will scream louder, right? So if you have a torn rotator cuff and you still go and play softball, eventually it's the pain is going to increase. And that's what I mean when I say that as an example.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit before this, and I think that's part of it, right? Is when I find myself going to the cupboard or the fridge, and it's I'm not looking for a
Yes,
meal, I'm looking for just something to nosh on or
right.
a snack or whatever. It's because I'm bored or I'm stressed or I'm this or I'm that, right? So it's
or old behavior,
right.
What you did as a kid, maybe, I don't know, or what you have done at the office over all the years, or different things like that, right? You go into the break room, and a lot of companies offer snacks, and I always say to Todd, "Where are the apples, oranges, bananas?" And there's processed cookies, crackers, granola bars, and things like that.
Yeah. And so I think
And I want to take a look at the chat in a minute. Go ahead.
So for me, it's about being mindful of asking in that moment. Am I here because my body is asking for food, or is it because my brain and my emotions are telling me that I should eat something now? Right.
Yeah.
So it's about recognizing and stopping in the moment and asking, am I eating because I'm hungry, because my body says I'm hungry, or am I eating because my emotions say that this is when I should eat something?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a pause here. And so I don't know if I said Natalie Dixon said, hi, Todd. Oh, yes, I did. Okay. And Mona talked about your head. And then Natalie Dixon, brown rice mixed with applesauce is a nice sweet treat. Ooh, that kind of reminds me of like a rice pudding or something.
Yeah, that'd be good. We might make that after this.
Good. Thank you for that. Colleen says, hello. Oh, hi, Colleen. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. Sorry to be late. No worries. I'm just glad that you're here. And Lori G says, that sounds good to me. I'll have to try the rice with the applesauce. Everybody's saying hello. And Natalie, I use organic, unsweetened applesauce. Excellent. I love it. And Austin said, did you say bad nuts? We may have, did we? Did we say bad nuts?
Bad nuts.
That would be great to add some comments on. So true and often overlooked. And Colleen, Todd is such a great support for Jennifer. Thank you.
That's very sweet, Colleen.
Yes,
your check is in the mail.
Anyways, okay. And
so do you want to talk about bad nuts?
Well, all I want to say about the nuts is that they're high calorically. So, an ounce I hear from a lot of the different doctors per day is a really good, amount. But, if you take a bag and you just eat them right out of an emotional need or some other need that we've touched on, that, for example, isn't going to help somebody lose weight. Right. And it's definitely not going to give you all the other things that the body needs. So, so bad nuts.
Bad
No,
nuts.
nuts are not bad. It's just they're high caloric. So anyways, did we finish talking about what
I
you
think
were
we
saying?
talked about that, but
Yeah.
I have another piece that kind of has some connective tissue to that, which is you had talked about the relationship between memories and events, right?
Yes.
My birthday or holidays
Right.
or whatever, where there's a food attachment to that.
Yes.
And before this, we were talking about your grandmother is not your teacup.
Oh yes. So I'll
so
share about that?
Touch on that.
Yeah. Okay. So I had heard from somebody, Andrew Mellon. He does decluttering, and I had learned a while ago from him that when we lose somebody, I'm going to use the example of a grandmother. It doesn't have to be my grandmother. I'm just saying, and you get, you get to choose some of their items, their favorite things. And so in this example, a grandmother had died, and she left her teacup collection, right? And so I have, I'm pretending right now, right? I have a teacup that was my grandmother's, and it's a teacup that I find very ugly. I don't like it. I've never used it, but I feel obligated to keep it because it was my grandmother's, right? And what I learned from him is that your grandmother is not the teacup. And if the teacup doesn't bring you joy, it's okay to give it to somebody else that it might bring joy to. The memories that we have of the grandmother are stored in other places, not in the teacup. And what I was saying is that when we think of memories as like when I was a kid, if I went to a birthday party and I really had a great time, or I had pictures, or I have memories of whatever food they had there that was not, that's not what I eat today. And I get into one of these panics or these feelings where I think that's what I need. What I'm looking for to soothe or to help calm or to make me not tired or not be thirsty, any of those things, it's not going to be found in the memory of a chocolate cake or whatever was at that birthday party. So for me to go down to the store now and buy that cake at the bakery or whatever, I think is not going to give me what I am missing. And that's what, thank you so much for bringing that up. We really try hard not to talk about this in advance because we want it to be organic, but I was just bringing it up a little bit because I wanted to make sure that the different topics that I wanted to talk about sounded relevant to the topic. So
yeah, no, and I thought that was important to touch on. When I think back to some of the, like weddings or other events that you go to, I can't remember the actual food, right? Unless it's something.
Oh, I can.
I remember the dancing and the this
right?
and all the fun activities, right? Yeah, I mean, so the food is not the event is the event, and so I thought that was important to touch on.
Yeah, but food is the event.
It's part of the socialization part of it.
It is
Yeah.
such a big thing in our culture.
100%.
And I think it's not just in the United States. I think it's just in general anywhere, right? We went internationally on a trip many years ago, and food, I mean, it's the cultural food. You want to try it, and you want to, because and you learn all about it, or special wines, or special curd meats or whatever, but that's not something that's a part of my life anymore. And I don't need to look for something, that memory in those products, because even if I had them, I'm not going to find it there, because that's not really what's going on. There's something else. So this has been so great. Let me see if anybody has any other question. I don't see anything right now. I would love any more comments. What do you think about the teacup scenario? Have you ever heard of it? Or does anything that we're talking about resonate with any of you? I would love to hear about that.
And what are some of the challenges that you face in staying on track? Is there a particular instance or situation that causes you more grief than others?
Yeah, and Mona had touched on that earlier. I don't know if we can still see that from here, but she was talking about staying motivated,
right?
And how and I had made some suggestions, but of course it's really up to the individual to find out what works best for them. And so, I guess for me, what motivates me is I don't want to go back to where I was. I only want to move forward in a direction that I might not even know what that looks like. And that's just being present and being aware and allowed to just show up with the food that I know is going to be the best thing for me, and let it take me further along in my health journey. Because for me, I've been healing now and on this for a few years. And I still am finding improvements, and I'm still working on things. It's not like a one and done. And that's another thing. This is different than I need to lose 10 pounds by Friday because that's a wedding and I have to fit in this dress. But don't worry, on Monday, when the wedding is over and I don't need to fit in the dress anymore, I can go and reward myself with, fudge cookies or whatever, or a big pizza or something that is just, you wouldn't do if you're trying to lose 10 pounds by Friday, right? But at the same time, that's not going to do anything for you in the long term. And so just being able to allow yourself grace to look at what's happening and to be okay to turn to community, to turn to us for support, and us to turn to you. We do it the same way. It is really important.
And I think the other thing is you don't have to be perfect, right? I think perfect is the enemy of good, right? And wherever you are, as long as you're making progress and as long as you're doing the best job that you can, that's all that you can ask of yourself, really.
Yeah, and there is no perfect, if you
That's
ask
true.
me. There is no, it's discovery and curiosity and exploration and all of those kinds of things that I think help us just do, do one more thing towards reaching that that whatever that goal is, and it doesn't even have to be a stopped goal, just that ongoing lifestyle. And I just want to stop here. And okay, Jim said, Sawyer said hello Sawyer. Thanks for tuning in. And Marilyn Dubin says, food is a main event in our social get-togethers. Everywhere I go, food is involved. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's another thing. That's actually another kind of topic that I was thinking of. Is I remember first transitioning, and it's like if I had said to someone, "Let's go for a walk," or "Let's go for a hike," "Let's go do something outdoors," I'd get like, let's go to a restaurant, or let's do something that had to do with food, a coffee shop, or this and that, and those were foods that I was trying to stay away from. And so then sometimes people start to feel isolated because they don't know how to engage and they're not ready to handle what's going on. You travel, right? At the airports, there's all kinds of food and billboards and advertisements and television commercials. It's like we're being bombarded. And so it isn't super easy, but you just have to stay the course and just, I try. I'm not telling you what to do. This is me talking to myself, but I try to stay the course and realize that is like not helping me. And so I'm just going to be with the food that I have in my bag, or eat, something that I could get at a grocery store that I know is going to give me the feel goods that I'm looking for, and, kind of block out the rest. But it isn't always easy, is it?
No, it's not. And, we've talked about this in other videos and other lives and things like that. And, how to stay on track, right? So we've talked a little bit about, distancing yourself, or creating a delineation between the in the moment, emotion, or the habit or the old behavior, right? Setting yourself up for success by having foods available and ready to eat, so that you're not scrambling in that moment. But also talking about, how do you eat when you're in these social settings? How do you set yourself up for success? I know for you, you bring your own food,
right? Yeah.
This little
then it's
bag.
like I release all the stress, all the anxiety of what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it, are they going to make a mistake, and then I'm going to pay all this money for something that I don't even want, right? So it takes that away, and it just lets me enjoy the reason that I'm there, which is usually to to interact with people. And so people know me well enough now that they know how I do that, and that it works for me. Let's just see if there's anything else here. Hi, sweetie. And Todd. Okay. I'm glad everybody is here. And so we've got about 10 more minutes. I don't know if anyone has any other comments or insight. Whether you're trying to lose weight, trying to heal, trying to get off medications, or maybe just stay off those things, keep the weight off, wherever you are, um, you know, do you find that this is helpful? Has this been helpful? Do you think that some of these tips would be something that you could remember in the moment, right? When you're bombarded with whatever situation. I'm just kind of wondering some thoughts.
And we, maybe this is a much larger conversation for maybe next time. But what's your why? Why did you start down this path to begin with? And has that changed? Is that still the motivating factor for why you're doing what you're doing and eating the way you're eating? And is it enough to keep you powering through those difficult moments?
Yeah, and I don't know where that originated, if it was like Dr. McDougall or Chef AJ, but I have heard many doctors talk about the why that makes you cry. Mm-hmm. And if you can get in touch with that, yes. And that's probably another topic, because we could go really into that one.
Yeah.
I didn't really
next
understand
week.
That. Okay, maybe we could do that next week. But even setting an example for young people, whether they're new babies or preteens, all the way up to young adults starting their own family, they don't necessarily all feel the effects of the food that we have been, that we've been like kind of taught that it's the right food for us. You don't necessarily feel the things that are going on in your body. The buildup takes a long time when you're talking about high cholesterol and things like that. But it's really, really a great thing to be able to be an influence and an example, I believe, for those little ones. And it doesn't have to be perfect, like Todd said, right? Add in one extra thing that you wouldn't have, maybe, like zucchini or some kind of and I thought of zucchini because I have this gigantic zucchini over here. Should I show them? Yeah. I'll show you. I got this at the farmer's market for $1. Look at this thing, but whatever it is, some kind of vegetable, some kind of new thing, make it fun and try to add it in.
Or find something that you like, something you enjoy. I mean, we made tofu chorizo.
Yes.
Find a way to make it compliant or make it healthy, so that you can still enjoy the, whatever the flavors or textures or styles that you like.
And that's good. That isn't always realistic for a lot of people, sure. But batch cooking is maybe a little easier, or you have to cook a lot of it. So you have, but I see a comment here.
Adeline.
Oh, Adeline says, hi from Texas. Hi, Adeline. Good to see you. And then Mona is saying, I'm working to stay off meds, looking for a new doctor. Two of them want you to
actually fill out an application to make sure you're not doc hopping or looking for drugs.
Really? Oh.
It's a thing.
Wow. Huh. Okay. Well, gosh. You're not allowed to get second opinions anymore from people that don't even know about nutrition.
Yeah, are we going to go there in the last 6 minutes?
Well, you know what the thing is, I believe that there is a wonderful place in the world for Western medicine and doctors, and I'm so grateful for them and what they do and what they can do. I also know that my experience has been that almost all of them have not been educated in nutrition, and so they work on trying to fix the problem once the problem is there, instead of trying to make sure the problem doesn't develop. So yeah. I'll just
Austin had a question before we start closing out.
Okay.
Did you ever fully
squash comment? Yes. Okay.
Did you ever fully comment on the difference between batch cooking and leftovers.
No, we didn't. Thank you for bringing
Austin.
that up, Austin. So batch cooking is making a lot at one time, right? So I know Nutmeg Notebook, who is another influencer, she does salad batch cooking. I do batch cooking differently, but making enough salad in either containers for the week, or I like to do it in a big bowl of all the dry things that'll last for 3 days or so. And then as I want it, adding the wet things like tomato and cucumber and things that are wet that are in a salad. So, or making a gigantic tray of baked potatoes, or 3 or 4 cups of rice, things that are in larger quantities so that you can divide them up, either freeze them or use them as your week is going on. Leftovers are after you've had it and there's still leftover based on what's not frozen and what's here. And for me, I like leftovers, but they run out and sometimes they're not enough. So I have to add other things to it. But the difference between leftovers and batch cooking is batch cooking large portions all at once so that you save on time during the week, or other times if you freeze it in portions, which is what I do. And I love to come back after traveling when the refrigerator's empty and I can just pull some homemade soup out and thaw it. And leftovers,
keep going.
Leftovers are, let's say I batch cooked, or we had some kind of bean tacos with salad and we didn't finish it. And so there's a smaller amount that we can use the next meal. But if it's still not enough for an additional whole meal, then we would also add something to it. And if it is enough, then we get to kind of, not have to worry about cooking for one of the meals or days.
Okay, so batch cooking is planned. Leftovers are accidental. Is that what I'm hearing?
I wouldn't say they're accidental.
Or is it that batch cooking is planned leftovers and leftovers is accidental batch cooking?
Yes. That's great. Oh my gosh. This has been a lot of fun, you guys. And so I hope everybody eats their leftovers and tries batch cooking so that you can be successful. I really do hope that this conversation was relevant to you, was helpful, and that we were able to answer any questions or spark some other thoughts that maybe you hadn't thought of, so that you can be successful in your journey.
Maybe last call for any additional questions.
Oh, Mona said, thank you. This was great. Oh, I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for tuning in with us. It really is special to have you guys be a part of this when we go live, and do appreciate all the engagement. And for those of you that have subscribed, thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, consider hitting the subscribe button. We would love the ongoing support and help our channel grow. And Kelly's saying, my doctor was arguing with me today about needing to take vitamin supplements. I told her I don't need one. I get them from food. Yes, right? Well, and so, that goes back to is that doctor, is that what they just know? That's what they know. Maybe they aren't somebody that has nutrition background. But I believe they all do the best they can. And of course, at the end, we know ourselves better than anybody else, including professional doctors. So, and so let's see. Oh, Marilyn says, thank you so much. Thank you. Course Corpy. Oh, yes, I know. Over 1K subscribers. That's so awesome. Congrats. Thank you very much. And we couldn't have done it without all of you. Right. And we really appreciate it and are excited for the future. So I just want to thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been really, really fun. I'm going to say it. Don't forget to eat your greens and give plants a chance. Take care. We look forward to doing another live soon with you guys. If there's any kind of topic that you would like to discuss, or you would like us to discuss, please leave it in the comments, and we will consider doing that in the future. So I guess the hour is up. It went by so fast.
It does go fast, doesn't it?
All right, everybody. Take care.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Okay, you're going to go and hit
I
that.
am.
Yes. And I got to figure out what I'm going to do with this. Any suggestions? Oh my gosh. Besides, of course, eating it, right? Bye, everyone. You want some of these? Yummy.